Sambanu, Laowinners. You're gonna have to guess where I am. I'm not gonna tell you where I am right now, just like last time. But if you're clever, you'll notice that on that bridge right behind me, it doesn't actually have Chinese on it. So I'm in a very, very interesting place. Now, as you guys know, I'm on my trip filming Conquering Northern China, and I'm kind of like the second to last province, I guess you could say, that we're gonna be in. And we've experienced some crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. And probably one of the most pervasive things that we have noticed, Winston and I, on this entire trip is the absolute blind kindness and generosity of people around us. Now, as you all know, I've lived in the south for about 8 years, and on and off, I've lived all over China really, but most of my time was in Guangdong province. And although the weather down in Guangdong, wow, these gnats are really killing me. Although the weather in Guangdong is too hot for Satan himself, the people, I'm not going to say can be cold, but the life in general can be cold because people tend to stick with themselves or their families or close friends and their connections like that. Whereas here up north, we've noticed a very, very differing kind of attitude towards us. Now, I know that we are walking around a bunch of white guys with massive film cameras, and I feel like Chinese people have every reason to be skeptical or a little suspicious about what we're doing, especially with all the kind of negative press that China gets in the media. But we haven't really had any of that suspicion or any bad experiences up here so far. I mean, we've had some, government officials pull up and say, what the hell are you guys doing here? Why do you have cameras out? Why are you filming this, etc., etc. But the average person has been so damn nice to us, I can't even begin to explain. I'd say that this kind of started happening right from the beginning of our trip up north, and we were kind of shocked. I mean, just in the first province that we were in, without giving too much away, there's a guy who literally put us up in his village home for about 3 days and basically fed us throughout the entire time. Like, all the meals were prepared for us and stuff. And the guy had the hardest time trying to take any money from us. Like, we basically had to force it on him. Winston handed him a wad of cash, and he was just kind of like, He was really, really super friendly and showed us the time of our lives up there. We kept moving on, and throughout Liaoning province as well, in the first province that we went to in the actual Dongbei region, the northeastern region of China, we noticed that people were just kind of super, super confident and happy to talk to us and wish us the best of luck and say, hey guys, what are you doing? Have an awesome time here. Everyone was super, super, super nice. Perhaps the most shocking and the best example of blind generosity was in the province of Jilin, which is the province that I'm going to talk about today. It seemed like the further we went north, the more kind of diverse the landscape became. Because Liaoning, although mountainous, wasn't super, super foresty, but we're up in Jilin province, kind of going through these windy, windy roads. It actually looked like you could be in the middle of North America or Siberia, and the only thing you heard, rather than the loud traffic and beeping and honking and all this kind of stuff, and people spitting and yelling and all this kind of stuff, the only thing you could actually hear, if you listen closely, was the birds singing and the wind blowing through the trees. And to be honest, it was some of the best roads and the best landscape and some of the worst. It was very polarizing in that respect. But something that wasn't polarizing that we found throughout the entire province was the absolute generosity of the people. Now, we were going through areas that we thought would be very, very sensitive to film in, and they were. And although I can't talk about it here, you guys have a big treat in store for when the final documentary comes out. But despite that, a lot of the kind of, politically tense regions of China where the minorities might not get along with the Han people or disagree with government policies and stuff, we didn't really feel that there. So we saw a vast ethnic kind of diverse place. This province was all over the board in terms of language and diversity and culture, but at the end of the day, people were equally as hospitable. There was actually one day that we were riding through Jilin province, and 3 specific instances of blind generosity actually happened to us. And the first was when we were riding through this tiny little Korean town, kind of near North Korea. And this old woman kind of saw us, and she was freaked out. She was like, oh my God, you gotta come in. She called her husband out, woke him up. They came out into their little shop, which was also doubled as their house, and they gave us some drinks and snacks and stuff, and they were taking photos with us and everything. And it was really, really nice of them because from all appearances, the place seemed quite poor. So they kind of probably live off of every yuan that they can make that day. But
it's very, very friendly couple of ethnic Chinese Koreans. Ethnic Korean Chinese, whatever. Have invited us into their home / shop to take a photo together. Yeah, they give us to change his clothes, yeah. She won't show that.
哎呀，这个没有。
Because of the door. Maybe move.
这자기네 거 찍고.
This like this.
제걸 치고 와.
The second instance was we were kind of going through this, again, this Korean region on our way up through Jilin province, and we stopped to get some repairs done to the bike, and it was really difficult to find a place that we could work on the bikes. I mean, we're going thousands of kilometers. We're at about 5,000 kilometers at this point. And we needed a place to be able to fix the bikes. We've obviously had we've obviously had minor maintenance issues, as you would expect going across an entire area of a country, especially with some of these really, really craggy, rough roads. But this guy that was working at the motorcycle shop, he gave us 2 bottles of oil, and they were actually quite expensive. If you tally them up, they were over 100 kwai each, over 100 kwai total. So about $20 worth of oil for free in a town where he didn't look like he got very much business. But the real kicker was, he was like, you gotta add me on WeChat, I wanna follow your journey and stuff. And then he gave us a bottle of baijiu that was also quite expensive. It was like a $20 bottle of baijiu, which me and Winston sampled later that night. So absolute blind generosity from these people that had absolutely no idea who we were.
This gentleman here, thank you. He's giving us, he works at the Haldra Suzuki. And he's giving us some alcohol.
And some oil.
Oh, thank you. Ganchinia. Yeah. He's like, oh, very cool. He's like, don't drink it in the day, drink it at night. Right, I want some bituhe. And yeah, he gave us some
2 bottles of oil.
really nice oil. So, and absolutely free. You know, we came here to work on our bikes a bit. We didn't pay him a cent. Really good gent. Thank you. Thank you.
And that kind of like, oh my god, a foreigner, wow, I can't believe there's a foreigner here. That element still existed, but it was less of a novelty and more like, wow, you guys are really traveling a far way, a long distance, like here's something for your journey, I really wish you the best. And that feeling was just fantastic. Now, the weird thing is that in the middle of absolute nowhere, and this is something I wanted to say, is that most of the areas that we're going through, although completely underdeveloped, crazy bad roads and all this kind of stuff, see a cow or a sheep on the side of the road, weirdly enough, the towns seem quite a bit more developed than the ones that, you know, equivalent sized towns down south. And that was a huge difference for us because we were in the middle of absolute nowhere. Never heard of this place. Backwater town, wasn't a city. Yet they had a KFC in the middle of nowhere. We went to the KFC and the woman, the girl behind the counter, she didn't say, wow, you're a foreigner, wow, welcome, blah, 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 blah. She just gave me, literally gave me, as I ordered my coffee, 3 chicken breasts out of nowhere, like menu items that cost 20 RMB. 3 of them, she was like, enjoy. Didn't have any explanation, just gave them to us. Hot, piping hot, fresh ones. That's amazing.
What happened there, Simo?
This is how many times today? Like, we got 3 bottles of oil, some baijiu, that woman gave us free drinks this morning, and I just went to go get some coffee and one of those weird cheese things that we want to try at KFC, and she just gave me 3 bags of chicken for free. She's like, this is for free.
It's pretty amazing, like people are so hospitable out here.
Even at KFC.
And I guess they just don't see foreigners very often, and so they just think it's great. 谢谢。
不客气，慢用。
Cool. Cheese. That's awesome. Chicken pieces.
What the hell, guys?
Man, these are like proper pieces of chicken too. It's not like,
Oh no.
you know, this is like, it's not like scraps. It's actual chicken
What the
breasts.
hell?
This is awesome. Oh well.
And it was like literally in the span of morning to afternoon that these people were just going out of their way to help us. And it was really, really bizarre. And like, yeah, I've been in China and for a long time, and for the most part, people are super, super kind and super, super friendly. But I've never seen it so kind of, I've never seen it so genuine as it was up here. Not like they're trying to get something from you, like, oh, go talk to them in English because they want to avoid paying for English lessons or something like this. It was just really, really, really nice people. And it was like that through the rest of the province. I mean, we met some North Korean minority women that were going out of their way to bring us to their little village and do all kinds of activities and stuff, which I can't talk about yet, but very, very sweetheart old women that still stay in contact with us, and pretty much everyone that's asked for our contact information has been checking up on us this entire way. How's the trip? God bless, you know, may the wind be your guide, like send me a picture of where you are now. Really, really sweet people that we've met thus far, and I hope it continues to be so. We've now gone through the majority of the provinces, but we still have about half of the distance to do left because we're now in a section where it gets sparser and sparser along the way. And we're about to see a part of China that most people don't get to see, and some of the tribal regions that you kind of hear about on, on Wikipedia articles, but you can't find pictures or video proof of it. So we're gonna go explore. It's been super fun to get a little bit off-road on our bikes. Despite not being off-road bikes, it's been super, super fun to kind of tear up the grasslands and just have an epic time. So really interesting towns, really interesting cities that we've been in, with a multitude of cultures kind of dotting along northeastern China. It's been a pleasure to ride. Anyway, guys, I hope you are enjoying my journey. I'm so sorry I can't post 2 videos a week. It's very, very difficult to do this from an iPhone on the road, but I hope you guys stick around, and I hope you guys are super pumped for the final product, Conquering Northern China, and I will catch you on the next one. Thanks, Laowinners.